Greetings everyone, and welcome to Wandering the Web, the show where we take a look at the weird, interesting, creepy, and creative stuff from around the web. And tonight we have a particularly obscure, but interesting corner to look at. A strange YouTube/BitChute channel. The weird combination of anime, video games, ASMR, nerd culture, creepy masks, fetish maybe, and politics. This is none other than NonPerson Human. A YouTube channel created November 1st of 2015, sitting at less than 200 subs at the time of this recording. NonPerson Human's channel description reads as follows. Quote, "Can you see me? Can you feel me through the screen? Feed me. I feed you." Unquote. The first video on this channel, entitled Kigurumi Camera Test 1, was uploaded on July 4th of 2017. There would be a few more videos quite similar to this first one uploaded over the next few days, the third of which sitting at over 11,000 views.
Only in combination do they make the beautiful sound of the guitar. The Tao is just this type of balance. So to further illustrate the point, here's a song entitled Tao.
All of these seemingly to be, as the creator puts it, camera tests. Pretty weird, I suppose. We have a masked human with a pink wig, bright headphones, a messy room full of anime and Beatles posters plastered messily on their walls, Japanese music playing in the background, almost sounding slightly off camera. These camera test videos would eventually lead into what you may call the main meat of this channel's content, that being Kigurumi Snack Time. The first of which I can't seem to find. It's either been unlisted or just doesn't exist. So we start with Kigurumi Snack Time Part 2. While I can't read the Japanese text here, what I can say is the overabundance of stimuli going on in this video. From the Persona 3 music, the messy Evangelion poster, random pieces of paper with tacks and strings attached to them in the background, the Coke and Slurpee next to the masked, glowy headphoned, Chie from Persona 4 jacket wearing Fallout 4 Pip-Boyd non-person human thing feeding me, the viewer, sushi. It's a lot to take in all at once. However, things only get stranger the more videos you watch. There are several videos, just like this one, our masked non-person human host, feeding us various ice cream, energy drink, and snack-related foods. Always quietly staring, always music playing in the background, always an odd cacophony of random things all meeting together in this strange melding of aesthetics that make this weird side of YouTube particularly hypnotizing. Watching more, things only get stranger as non-person human, or perhaps I should refer to them as Kigurumi, which I assume is the character that they are playing here, feeds us Happy Meals, Lunchables while talking about how nostalgia isn't good for you, lighting a cigarette in your imaginary mouth, even taking what the description says as a request by someone to feed them Dairy Queen. Things take an even further step stranger and more interesting, however, as the mess of things grows yet another layer, starting in Kigurumi Snack Time 9 Oreo cookies, in which this masked being feeds you various Oreo cookies, while commentary in the background is playing from the podcast World Class Bullshitters, talking about pop vinyl figures and how much they absolutely hate them. One person calling them materialism run amok, that those who collect them are capitalist robots.
Blanketed all these licenses out so you can get a G.I. Joe pop vinyl next to a Walking Dead pop vinyl next to a SpongeBob SquarePants and next to a Bob Ross. And it's like, okay, at this point, Funko, you guys are just assholes.
Then, as we move on to a video entitled Ebola-chan Kigurumi, a spring feast of Pocky, we now have commentary from YouTuber Sticks and Hammer 666, talking about the EU and the British government, talking about the corruption of said governments and the lack of free speech, as well as a more general lack of freedom and tyranny there that is easier to see much more clearly for what it is when sitting on the other side of the pond.
Wonderful. No, I think it's wonderful to be on this side of the Atlantic, and I don't want anyone from the UK to think like I'm, bad-mouthing your son, but your country's falling apart. It's very, very visible from this side of the pond. Some of you don't see it because of shit like this. A muzzled press, muzzled population, the biggest risk is that you start being afraid to speak out against these injustices. That's a way, way bigger problem than the injustices themselves. When people begin self-censoring, that's the death knell of freedom.
Then we have a random offshoot video about a game I've never heard of called Racing Lagoon, a game made by Square that only ever came out in Japan that combines street racing with role-playing elements, that apparently has a story and shit. Apparently, he has a theory or some shit that it's a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, which seems like it would be a joke, a part of a larger skit, but considering I have no idea what the fuck I'm looking at, I could almost believe him.
Shouldn't be too cynical. The story does take a few twists and turns, such as, it starts out very low-key with kidnappings, car crashes. The story then escalates, characters die, the Shinra Gasoline Company, I think that's what it's called, they're using Mako gasoline. This must be how they gained a stranglehold over the world. You can see that already the reliance on Mako gasoline to fuel all these vehicles. Everyone's hyped, of course. It's the Red Moon.
According to the description of this video in particular is narrated by guest reviewer British Motorist. However, this feels like a pretty obvious joke. Unless proven otherwise, this is most likely the voice of our non-person human, or maybe at least a close friend of theirs. Moving back to the Kigurumi videos, we have more of the same, like a Star Wars limited edition Campbell's soup being fed to us, while a far more obscure voice commentates in the background, someone by the name of Tim Tyler, who talks about how destruction is often key to creation in all aspects of society and life.
It's easier to criticize a novel than it is to write one. It's easier to destroy trust than it is to build it. It's easier to refute a scientific theory than it is to make one, and it's easier to kill an animal than it is to create one in the first place. In general, it is often relatively easy to create high entropy states that have little value. The asymmetry in effort involved between destruction and creation can sometimes be massive. Destructive power can produce large changes.
Another video we see entitled in Japanese text, Costume Mask, sees our strange friend mucking about at some sort of fair, attracting the attention of various children. Something that is admittingly kind of funny, if not really creepy at the same time, especially considering the description of the video, which says, quote, "I am not here to entertain children, least of all hippies." Unquote. I don't want to go over every single one of their videos and just describe what it has in it, but as things go on, more and more text appears on screen as the non-person human says to make sure to question everything, that anything can be justified, that Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog did nothing wrong, or feeding us an Antifa pizza and Pepsi while Tim Pool commentates in the background.
Types were gone, and within the first week, it was just a bunch of college students pushing racial identitarianism. And this is just, I think this is a big problem. And I think it's one of the big problems we face. It is, like, identitarianism splits the left. But look at it this way. When you look at a wealthy, multi-millionaire, billionaire even, who happens to be black, well, back in the day, you could say, I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, whatever. If you're one of these banksters who crashed the economy with your ill thought out policies, then we need some accountability. But the narrative changed after Occupy Wall Street. Instead of challenging the 1%, what are we doing now? Blaming people based on arbitrary skin color?
So many of you might be wondering about the point. So, like, what is this all about? And I have a perfectly good answer for you. I have no fucking idea, fellas. No, but seriously, these videos are an overload of things to listen to look at, and have even mixed messages as far as the possible messages that could be inferred from them. There does seem to be a heavy political and social commentary hidden and intermixed within these otherwise weird videos that feel slightly like a fetish type thing more than anything. But what that message exactly is hard to say. Lately the channel has just been uploading RuneScape and PUBG mobile Let's Plays, and they don't really seem to be connected to the Kigurumi videos whatsoever, so fucking I don't know. Maybe it's just all random and absurd for the sake of being absurd. It's possible. There was also a video entitled Vampire Hunter D PSX Review version 3.0 part 1 of 3 that caught me off guard. The whole video is reviewed in a self-aware commentary fashion that honestly was genuinely funny in certain parts. Almost makes me wish they made more content like this. And again, didn't really have any relation to the rest of the channel either.
So, there's Maya Link and the Marcus brothers who are after him. All the pieces are in place.
This is going to make masturbating extremely awkward. My body, it's seizing up. Take controls.
Pardon?
These controls are unholy. Do I even need to describe how atrocious these controls are? Resident Evil controls. Castlevania game. Is this someone's sick idea of a joke? 0 out of 10.
Overall though, if you want to look deeper into this obscure corner of the web, you can find their channel in the link down below. And if you have any theories about NonPerson Human, or any other obscure YouTube channels like this to share, make sure to comment that down below as well. I'm always looking for new and interesting corners of the web to talk about, showcase, or in some cases analyze. But until then, I recommend you go and give them a quick watch and experience the strange atmosphere that these videos emit for yourself. Maybe you will be able to feel them through the screen as they feed you, nourish you, as you stare into the cold, lifeless eyes of a non-person human.